It's time again for another installment of The Basics, and on today's show I want to talk about shuffling your deck. Now I know that seems very basic, but because the show is called The Basics, I wanted to talk about this, and I'm going to use my Magic the Gathering green deck as an example to show you what I'm on about. So let's check it out. It's time to play a round of your favorite CCG. You have your deck out and you're about to shuffle as what is your opponent. But how do you shuffle? Is there a good way to shuffle to ensure fairness? Because let's face it, a lot of players to this day will put certain cards in certain order in their deck, hoping that when they do a basic shuffle, they'll end up with a lot of those better cards still in the top half of the deck. So I'm going to show you a simple way to shuffle and cut your cards so that you can show your opponent that you have nothing to hide. Now, one of the easiest ways to shuffle is to treat your stack of cards like you would if you were playing a game of poker or whatnot with a regular deck of cards. So you start off, take the back half of your deck, move it over the front like so, and there's also a way of doing it where you take as many cards as you can and you smush them in and then even them out on the table and then go back to doing this. Now, it's not always easy, especially if you have a deck that is encased in plastic sleeves like my cards are. Most people use plastic sleeves nowadays and they do get stuck together a bit when you're shuffling. That's okay. You just have to keep aware that you're not going to be able to shuffle without having a few mishaps, like a card going off the table or they're not gelling as much as they should. So that's one way. If you do this for a couple minutes, you're good. A lot of players like to shuffle for a good 5 minutes to ensure fairness. The other thing you can do, and not every player does this, I've done it a couple times, is separate your deck into two piles. So you cut the cards in half, and you would shuffle each pile separately, and then put them back together. And then you would cut one more time in, say, a different order. And that way, not only is your deck shuffled, but you've cut it several times while you're shuffling. And that not only mixes up the cards, but it also shows your opponent that, hey, I've shuffled, I've cut the cards several times, you've seen me, the cards are getting so mixed up that there's not going to be any kind of fix going on once we start drawing for our hand. Now, that all being said, it doesn't work for every card game out there. For example, the Star Trek customizable card game, your deck has to be broken up into different phases before you even start. And it's pointless to shuffle anything in the seed phase because it has to go out anyways. You can shuffle your draw deck before you start, but pretty much everything else like the Q's Tent side deck or any kind of Battle Bridge or Ready Room side deck, you don't bother. Magic, Pokemon, Overpower, Spellfire, any game like that you don't have to do any kind of setup beforehand, you can just shuffle your deck and go. It's that simple. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great day.